competition.
Right.
So, hello, Raquel.
Hello. Good
So
afternoon.
nice seeing you today, and we're excited about Sunday and honoring you, and
Thank you.
looking forward to your solo performance. So tell us, how did you get into dance, and a little bit about your transition to tango?
Well, I really just love to perform and be on stage and get attention. But I was always moving and dancing to music from a baby. But my dream when I was 6 years old was to be a stand-up comedian. My idol was Robin Williams, and I had these 3 impressions that I would do at every family reunion, bar mitzvah, wedding. But then my mom got me into a performing arts school, and really it was from 10 years old that like my days were just filled with dancing, singing, acting, and performing. And I really realized then that dance was the thing that I was most passionate about. It was the only class that I didn't goof off in, that I really took seriously. And took me a while. People would ask me if I was going to be a dancer when I grew up. And I said, no, I'd just be a doctor, probably like my mom. I mean, I come from a Jewish family of doctors and engineers, and that was kind of the only 2 professions I could choose from. But, later I used to hear people say, older people in my mind than adults, that would say, oh, I used to dance and I loved it. And, I stopped doing it and took on a different profession. And I just saw this look of regret in their eyes. And that really kind of convinced me, like, I don't want that when I'm older. And it was at age 16 that I really decided 100% that this is my profession, that I can't do anything else. And well, then I trained in jazz, ballet, did tap, did everything, and ballroom. And then really at 15, that's when I started competing in international Latin ballroom and really took that on as my career. But tango, my father's from Buenos Aires. I was born in the Bay Area. And so with my father, I would go back to Buenos Aires and visit family. And my first interaction with tango was at 15, when we went with my dad to take a group class in Salon Cani. He didn't continue his career in tango at all. It wasn't his thing. But me as a dancer, I fell in love, and that was an afternoon class. And then my first real milonga at 15 was La Viruta. And that was a shock to me. And I just fell in love. Walking down those stairs, this dark, huge room, you just see hundreds of people dancing in a mix of ages. And it was so exciting for me that it was kind of a dream that I just held in the back of my mind. And every time I went back to the US, it was just, okay, all I did in the US was train for ballroom.
You probably had a really hard time getting a dance. No?
No.
You were very popular, I'm sure.
I mean, I went, with my teacher at the moment, and then who later became a partner and life partner. That was, my first professional tango partner. But I really thought Latin ballroom was my career. I then moved at 19. I lived in Portugal, in Oporto, because I had a dance partner there, and we became the Portuguese national champions. And then
wow,
and we had a couple titles in the under 21 Latin category internationally. And then I moved to the Czech Republic for another dance partner. That didn't last too long. It was a harsh winter. And then I moved to Canada. That was the last place I lived when I was dancing ballroom. It was out of like a very demanding school where they had a lot of like the best dancers in the world. And yeah, I had some of my best results internationally with my dance partner from Canada, and we would tour around the US as well and do a couple shows with like the cast of Dancing with the Stars. But it was in that moment that I started to realize that the ballroom world was really unhealthy for me. And at the same time, tango was just appearing everywhere. At a studio I was teaching in, there was a couple from Argentina, and we started talking, and I started going to milongas, and another friend that got into it, and I just yeah, it felt like a sign. And I knew that continuing in ballroom wasn't going to be good for me. When I finished, you know, I had like a broken tailbone that I had to compete.
Oh, you mean
with
like physically healthy? Are you talking about?
Physically, yeah, physically, emotionally, yeah.
And emotionally. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, there was not so much regard for my own health. So I competed. I broke my tailbone on the dance floor.
Wow.
Boy.
Yeah, and then I
Ooh.
just had to continue, and then and we kept making the next round and the next round, and we made it to the final to dance in Royal Albert Hall, and this was in London. And I was just, yeah, in a lot of pain, and no one really cared, you know,
Jeez.
what was going on with me.
Wow.
And then also demands and pressure led to eating disorders, and I really just noticed I needed to leave. I never lost love for the dance itself, but yes, the environment was not good. And so that was when I was 22. And at that moment, I decided to go to Buenos Aires and live with my grandmother, who lives in Parque Chas. It's a really small neighborhood in Buenos Aires, right next to Villa Urquiza. You've heard of. This is where the famous Sunderland was located. So yeah, it was really like a moment, something in the universe that said I have to go to Buenos Aires and dance tango. And it was without, you know, knowing anyone really. And it was, yeah, it was, I mean, I just had my family there. That's a huge, but yeah, it was a leap of faith. And there,
So
so I went.
How did you get discovered there?
Well, actually, you know, I didn't even know this before, but so I would go to Sunderland and take the lessons with Carlitos and Rosa Perez. They're well known in the community. A lot of champions have come out of, you know, have been their students. And I used to just go to their práctica, and I met Sebastián Jiménez there like 10 years ago. At this moment, though, I did have this connection with my other dance teacher, who became, at that moment, he was like my teacher, my partner, and then boyfriend. But Sebastián was visiting from Europe. He had already been the world champion and was coming back and living in Europe.
Yeah.
And Carlitos introduced us, and I didn't know this at the moment, but he told Sebastián, he's like, she didn't have a partner, I will tell you to dance with her for sure. And then when I separated from him, that's when I was looking for new dance partners and just going out to Milonga and dancing with everyone. And that's when I met Maxi Copello and started practicing with him.
How long ago was that?
2015. And apparently, I don't even remember this, but Sebastián had written me a Facebook message like, hey, how are you doing? And I didn't even respond. I don't even remember this. And apparently at that moment, he wanted to start dancing with me, and I had already begun dancing with Maxi. So it's funny now that we have found each other, and
Mm.
he's like, finally, after 10 years, I get to dance with you.
That's great.
But yeah, it was an interesting time in Buenos Aires. It was my life was 24 hours tango.
Mm.
But actually, what I really did when I got down there, I was teaching and training all of the top couples in ballroom.
Mm.
And that was incredible. I loved training ballroom. I
Yeah.
didn't like not competing and being in it, because that was pretty awful. But it was great. Then I had like the top 6 couples in the country. They were all my students, and
Wow.
Wow.
and then I started judging and teaching in both Uruguay and Argentina. And yeah, and that just mhm.
So that almost brings us to the present. Then when you left Maxi Popello and made some decisions, and were these decisions about your future in tango, or were you just kind of drifting for a while, or did you have a clear idea of what you wanted to do, or
Oh no, I was just healing.
healing for a while?
Yeah, it was hard. I wasn't happy for many years, but I stuck on to it because really, I mean, I created my career with him. And the complicated thing about partner dancing is that that was my art with him. That was my identity as a dancer. I didn't
Right.
have anything by myself. And his idea was to keep everything within the couple, to always work together, to never do anything separate or with other people. And so that really limited me. So I didn't work, I didn't perform, teach, do anything on my own. So it was frightening to separate, because I really believed I wouldn't have any work, but it got to a point where I needed to. So then it was discovering, I guess, myself as a teacher by myself, which was really great. I fell in love with teaching. I think before I didn't love teaching, I loved dancing. And for the first time, I was able to really teach the things I was passionate about.
Well, I've talked to several of your students that just took lessons from you, and they are just so pleased with you as a solo teacher. They really like
That's
you a
great to
lot. They
hear.
think you're one of the best. So
Wow.
I've heard this from several people. Yeah.
And this brings us up to what you'll be doing Sunday in your solo performance. And I guess you've performed this solo before, or will this be the first time, or what's?
She performed it in Buenos Aires, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at a
Yeah, in Buenos Aires in 3 venues. The last one was La Viruta, was really
La
significant for
Baruta,
me.
yeah. So big time.
And then
How was it received at La Ruta? They're very kind of they want
oh yeah,
traditional stuff, you know.
yeah, it's an intense show. And I was there in my mind, inside, laughing, being like, I'm crazy to be doing this here.
Wow.
But no, but really I really felt that people were there with me in the moment. And yeah, and then I had, just a huge group of friends, and that was everything to me.
Wow. So
And then
what's the name of your one-woman show?
It's called La Apertura de los Ojos, which
And what does that
in
mean in
English
English?
is the opening of the eyes.
The opening of the eyes.
Yeah, this is
nice.
actually a Buddhist teaching. I practice Buddhism, and it's really important to me, especially it has a lot to do with, I think, my transformation, and especially with the support of the Buddhist community, and really kind of like it says, like opening my eyes to the truth.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe, I mean, I can, without like sharing the plot, I can explain
Right.
a little bit the show.
Right. Well, what
Yeah,
will people,
it's
excuse me,
go
what will
ahead.
people take away after seeing your performance? What do you think that they'll feel?
Um, well, this is also a huge shift that I made in the last 2 years, is really making sure that everything I put out there has meaning and
Mhm.
purpose, and it's not about perfection and shining, and it's about getting to people,
Mhm.
making them feel. And so, yeah, my show represents my story in a way, which was really healing by doing the show. But it also represents the story of like many other people and women in particular, and so, but not only that, it ends on like a really beautiful note, which what I've been learning about, that even, you know, the people that have suffered the most can be the most happiest.
Mhm.
That it's, you know, if we can pick ourselves up again and again and rely on the people around us and communities, that um, these difficult times can really teach us the most. And
Mhm.
yeah, so I really hope people can get that and be, I don't know, be moved to feel something. That's really my goal, is that they feel something.
Mhm.
Right. Okay.
Looking forward.
Well, I can't wait to feel it on Sunday.
That's a good response, Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any more questions?
You know, I think that's really, there's a lot to talk about. I think for now, for this interview, is there something more you'd like to say? I think we've already covered quite a bit.
Yeah, just um well, what I was saying before, that I made this shift also in my art, but in my teaching.
Mm,
And for the first time, I'm going to be doing a women's tango and healing retreat.
mhm.
Oh, yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, and this is kind of the first time I feel like I'm really joining everything that I do in my personal life. I've organized women's circles to talk about important topics, like intimacy and our bodies and even sex. And then I also have the spiritual aspect of Buddhism that I'm really active. And then my love and my art and passion, which is tango. So this is, yeah, merging the two of them. And yeah, I really want to give space to dance and to improve their dancing, but also to heal and to work on or reflect on also what it means to be a woman and an artist and a dancer. This huge shift in my art, or I think when I separated from Maxi, I was really letting go of the world championships. That was my dream since I was 16, to be the
Mhm.
world champion.
Oh, I see.
And I think holding on to that has led me on the wrong path.
Mhm.
And to even move forward when I wasn't happy, which doesn't make sense because I dance because I'm happy, because it makes me happy. Sorry,
Mhm.
just waving to a neighbor.
Mhm.
Um, and so I really let it go. I really let the championship go. And also my previous dream, like before, I was just wanting to be in all the best festivals and really, yeah, I guess it was driven also by wanting to, or fame and superficial things. And now it's like I don't care anymore. It's really great.
Yeah, that's good.
And I really just want to do something profound. I want in all my classes to connect with my students and inspire them, and in my art as well. The fact that I've like let go of the championship is freed me up so much, because I don't need to create a dance that would please the judges in any way.
Mhm.
And but you know, I still wanted to have a dance partner, and it's still a part of me, something that I love, and to be traveling and to be a part of festivals. But I just thought I couldn't do that because it's not healthy for me. And now with Sebastian, I'm like going back to dreaming again, but from a completely different place. Um, I'm really excited about our dancing and what we're doing, and not only that, but him as a person. We are just so we laugh in every rehearsal, and I feel so free. And I have no fear because I have my own work and my own art and everything on my own. So in a way, I'm dancing with him just because I love it, and not because I need him or the work in any way. And that's really freeing. And yeah, so I'm excited for what's to come, and it feels like I can go back to dreaming a bit again.